Well, hey there, guys. Good to be back with you. If you're watching this around the time that I'm filming it, this is around 9:30 at night on New Year's Eve 2025, going into 2026. Then you know that this is the second video that I've done so far today. My apologies for the first video. I was a little bit anxious, especially since my first attempt ended up with the game totally crashing on me. So I'm hoping that this second attempt works a little bit better. I do have a couple of interesting things here to report to you as I've been sort of looking around at this here in Football Manager. So we're going to take a quick look here. This time I am remembering to turn the audio on, and I will try to make it so that this broadcast is probably going to be a little bit longer than last time. I thought last time's went a little bit too fast for my taste. So one of the things that I was thinking when I was not playing this game, imagine not playing Football Manager, I was sitting down and I was thinking, I bet I could probably sign some of these players that are grayed out, and then we could at least have something on our team. But the problem is that the players that are grayed out here, like say for example Kim Weiss or Nico Vanek, are all 16 years old. So if we go over here to the competition in the Bezirksliga Schwaben Süd, I'm trying to switch from English to German. I'm not doing a very good job of it. The rules say that a player under 17 on January 1st, 2017 is not allowed to play, right? The problem is if I look at like Kim Weiss, he should be under 17 on January 1st, 2017, right? Because it's 2016 right now. He's 16 years old. Birthday's not until July 30th, right? So technically speaking, if I were to sign this guy to a contract, he wouldn't actually be able to play for me. And the reason why he wouldn't be able to play for me is all of a sudden he wouldn't be able to fit the registration requirements. So the only option that I have here is to continue to play this team of guys that doesn't really look that good, and to just sort of go along with it and kind of try to remember who's playing where. And it's the first season anyway, so we're just going to do what we have to do, and we're going to play through these games quickly. The really funny thing about this is that Bobingen is actually favorites to win this clash with SV Schwab-Egg. Now, you're probably wondering why it's Schwab this and Schwab that, Schwab and Süd and all this other stuff. So I was taking a look over here for a while. So Schwab-Egg, for example, is a small, I don't know if I'd even say city. It's more like a small village in what they call Schwab-München, or near Schwab-München. Now, all this Schwab this and Schwab that, I think I actually closed this page. But the word Schwab actually comes from is sort of an older German phrase, if I remember right when I was looking at this. Has a lot to do with the original name of sort of this part of what is now sort of part of Bavaria. I'll see if I can find this here as I'm looking at this up on Wikipedia while I'm reading through this. Yeah, it was the medieval Duchy of Swabia, one of the German stems duchies. I'm not exactly sure how to say all of that. So anyway, those of you who are history buffs and who are players of Europa Universalis, you can go ahead and correct me. I actually own EU5. I haven't started playing it yet, though, because I've been too interested in trying to figure out how to play this Football Manager 2017. Augsburg, by the way, which is the city I spent most of my time in when I was in Germany back in the good old days, Augsburg is definitely a Schwäbisch city in Germany, and that's the reason why I know about this. They talk about the Augsburgisch form of German, of Deutsch, being Schwäbisch, and I remember that very, very well from those days. So that's one of the reasons kind of why I like this place, and I like playing with teams from around this part of the country of Germany. So anyway, we say, come on, lads, we're the favorites. Show me what you can do. We'll go ahead and start the match. Now, if you see here, we have highlights this time on extended, so we should have a little bit more to talk about, a little bit more to see. I mean, last time it didn't even take 5 minutes. So we have the ball here on the left side. It's going to be Klappert here over to Smike, who had a number of chances on goal in that first match and didn't really make any of them count. I'm going to continue, as I said before, I'm going to continue to look at this here in this 2D mode. Some people like it, some people don't. I don't see why anybody would not like 2D mode like this here, though, in FM17. This is the classic 2D mode that most of us sort of grew up with. Vanek makes the easy save there, and there's really not too much to see. And then we kind of move forward, and we'll see if this game ends up totally crapping out on us or not. And it does, and that was part of a replay. There were a couple of kind of strange things that are happening with some of these highlights, by the way. I made a couple of changes. In fact, I'll go up here and show you. So for replays, I guess this is down as custom right now. I do want to make sure that I see a lot of these other things, but other than that, we just want to see goal action. In fact, I might even change goal action here to goals, so that we're not necessarily seeing a bunch of like kind of useless goal action. Pass forward to Kloppert, and he's beaten his man, and there's the shot, and we hit the post. And so much for that. So Bobingen with a very, very golden opportunity, and we're not able to put that one away. Özkul with the throw in over to Smajic, and Smajic has that taken away from him. That was too easy, and that ends up ending the thread. They're looking for Freak going back, and there's no way to get it to him. And unfortunately, Vanek does not allow that to go into his own net. That would have been very embarrassing. And so we're going to bring this out slowly from the back. Kuzu to Valasis, over to Özkul, and we'll see what happens as my heater comes on. Apologies for the noise in the background if you can hear this. Hopefully the crowd noise is loud enough to prevent you from hearing all of the noise behind me again like you did in the first game. Here it is to Özkul, and he's up ahead of his man, and he shoots, and in it goes. And so Bobingen with the first goal of the season, and that makes it a 1-0 lead. Mustafa Özkul is the scorer. Now, none of these are real players, by the way. This is all sort of new gens. Mustafa Özkul was not offsides, I suppose, and I suppose they're saying the man on the bottom was in front of him, and I think that's what they're saying counts. There wasn't even a look at offsides there. It looks like Kim Weiss has been injured. We had an injury, I think, in the last game as well, so we'll see what happens here, if it even lets us continue playing or not, and we've experienced an application error. So, I will show you this here. I'm going to change this over to the desktop so you can sort of see what's happening here. It is this screen right here. So you can see this has popped up here. This is very, very small, but application error, serious error was encountered. The application will close. And so because of that, I'm going to have to exit this. What we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and exit out of this, and we're going to sort of mix this together. We'll make this a slightly larger video as I try to play this again. I will tell you, I'm going to do my best to try to make this work, but in the end, if it doesn't end up working, and if we keep getting crashes like this, we may have to abandon ship once again and come up with a different plan. But at least for this video, we'll try it again. So I'll talk with you again in 1 second. Well, I tell you, there's no better way to spend New Year's Eve than by trying to troubleshoot a computer game that was made, 9 years ago. So we've done the best that we can here. I'll show you kind of what happened. After doing a little bit of searching, I've decided that it might be worth it to get rid of the skin for the time being to see if that's what the problem was. I also had a few graphics in the graphics folder. Was a bunch of images of whatever it was, like club logos or something, but nothing changed for any of the teams at this level, so you can see that definitely wasn't it. There might be other problems going on that I'm not aware of. I don't know. We'll just sort of see if this helps or not, and we'll take it a step at a time. As you can see, nothing has changed with the team at all, so we'll see what happens. Now, I will tell you that if I continue to have all of this crashing, at some point in time, it's going to become impossible to get the save to continue. So we'll see what happens. And unfortunately, a lot of the really nice graphics that were with the skin end up being missing, but it's okay. We'll do the best that we can here. We're going to make sure that we have our sound turned on, and we're going to have to do this again. So we'll have to do a pick without restrictions so that it gets all of our favorite players in, like Kim Weiss and Isaiah Blumel and Nico Vanek and all the rest. And we'll submit this team. And we'll see what happens. We'll see if the game continues or if we end up getting another one of these crashes. We certainly hope not, because I really do like this game. And we're going to tell them we're the favorites here, so let's go out there and win. I do think that we can win. As you can see, I mean, even with the skin off, this screen looks absolutely brilliant. This is one of the reasons why I really, really would like to do an FM17 project, but as you know, it's very difficult. Berghold is about to give me absolutely, like, he's going to make me go crazy if he doesn't pass that ball away, but he gets it away eventually. And so we'll see if we can get this ball back and if we can score a goal. So one of the reasons why I wanted to hold on to the highlight from before is to prove that we did score a goal once upon a time. Vanek does make the save, which is good. So there's some cool things you can see here. For example, we can actually look at match stats while the game goes on. Imagine doing that, right? We can look at other scores around the league at the same time, including scores from our own game if we really want to. Sometimes that can give you a spoiler. There were a lot of really nice things that they had in Football Manager way back then. I don't know why they got rid of them. It would be nice to have all of these widgets again. I think that they really add a lot to the game. Colossus ends up kicking that one away, and that ends up working fairly well. We'll have, I suppose, a replay. Yes, it is set to director, so it will show us whatever it is that it wants to show us. This is a Freak here from their team, the name of which I just forgot. Schwabig, that's right, SV Schwabig. And as I was saying before, Schwabig is, the name Schwab is after the sort of old name of this sort of specific part of Germany from going back to the medieval times. Pretty interesting things to learn about. And I didn't know this back when I lived there, so you learn a new thing every day. Velocius ends up with a yellow card, and we haven't scored any goals here at all, unfortunately. So we'll hope that we can get maybe something better looking here in the second half. Lehmann with over to Smajic and over to the side to Uzko, and he shoots it off of the post, so that did a lot of nothing. But at least it was a thought, and we have an attack again. Klappert with the corner, and Gutze, their keeper, ends up grabbing that, and nothing happens. We end up not seeing a highlight, by the way. I think that it was trying to show us one, but it ended up not happening. So far so good. We haven't had a crash so far, which is the important part. The thing that I looked up when I was offline there in between here was I was looking up what to do with those crash dump files. I looked up at first to see how to read them. I mean, it's not really useful now because this is not the current game. But I suppose that the people who created Football Manager never would have thought that some people might not want to play the current version. We have a substitution to make. And see, the quick sub is turned on now. We don't have anybody who can play anywhere. We're going to put Schreiber in because it's all we've got. And it's a Freak again, meanwhile, who has basically a one-on-one with a keeper, and Vanek ends up with the miracle save at the end. So we make our substitution, and let's see if we can get the ball out of the danger zone. Vanek does make a save. I certainly hope that we can score a goal here again. And look at this. They actually give us a... highlight. How about that? So I will say this, the animations in this version of the 3D match engine were probably not, and we always say the 3D match engine, it's really just the 3D video engine. They were not necessarily the best in the world. When it comes to the animations, I do think that FM26 actually is an improvement. But when it comes to the overall feel, the overall look, the textures and stuff like that, I really have a hard time seeing how FM26 overall is an improvement over this game. I don't know, you might feel a little bit differently, but when I look at that and I look at this, I think, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Velocius down to Schreiber. Schreiber to Weiss. Weiss, one of the fake players, back to Blumo. And Kutsu, Ahmed Kutsu, back to Blumo. I worry so much about it. We got to make sure we have 2 players at every position and all this stuff. And then I realize we're playing like maybe 1 match a week. If we're lucky, we don't need 2 players at every position. We could do it with probably 12 guys if we wanted to. Except when one of our best players, of course, does the Achilles tendon. Schreiber with a shot from the middle of nowhere. Not quite sure what he was thinking. And that's kind of what you get when you play at this level. But of course, we'll have a replay of that. And this will be fun to watch. Look at how far away he is. I mean, just look at this, right? He's basically like across the street, and he decides to try to shoot and see what will happen. So we have about 20 minutes left. Let's see if we can get a goal across. Umlas here for Schwabig, and Lehmann with a tackle, and they're going to call a foul, and I think it's going to be a yellow card. Lehmann trying to hide behind the Schwabig player, and it doesn't quite work. And there's the second yellow card, and Hannes Lehmann has been sent off, so that's going to leave us here in a lurch, unfortunately. We'll take a look at this. I have it set up so that we see replays of red cards, and that was pretty cynical. I mean, he just went over and sort of kicked him in the shins. So now the question here is always, when you're using one of these sort of like cheater type tactics, what do you do when something like this happens? I mean, we're going to be wide open on the left side. I don't know if I really care, though. I'm just going to go for it, and let's see what happens. What's the worst that could happen? We give up a goal. Well, we probably were going to lose anyway, right? I was saying that, I have this on extended. At least I think I do. Yeah, highlights extended. And the reason why is because I thought, oh, if we put this on extended, maybe we get a little bit more to watch. And we haven't really seen that more here. So we have only about 20 minutes of match left. We've been watching this for about 8 minutes. And Freak ends up scoring the goal. And that was awful. That was just absolutely awful there by Vanek. I know that Vanek is a grayed out player and he's not really supposed to be playing. But, I mean, this is just horrible. This is just horrible. So we're down to 10 men. And Vanek decides to move forward, and he's not even close to the ball. He doesn't know where the ball is, and that leaves Freak wide open, and we are in a heap of trouble. I don't think that there are shouts in this game, actually. I don't think that they exist. So, and I'm kind of just trying to stick here, sort of, with this tactic, though at some point in time that might not be the best idea. So, yeah, we'll see what we can do here. They have a corner. Blue Mill ends up knocking that away, and Smayak has it, and he's wide open. He's got a man. And it's taken away from him way too easily, so much for that. I'm not so sure how this season's going to look if we can't beat this team. We have about 8 minutes left, and it's all gone wrong after we were doing so well the first time that we played this. It should have been offside, right? Anyway, I guess the ball was forward of the man who was standing right next to the keeper, so I suppose it wasn't. Freak again, he's been very, very good for them. Velocius, who already has a yellow card, had to be careful there. That's why he didn't win that. And it's going to be Uzkul in the back taking that one and looking for Weiss and can't find him. Well, I mean, if all else fails, and if this ends up being a very, very short save, that way we don't have to worry so much about the game crashing anymore, right? Because we're going to be a couple of games in, and then we'll be out. That's kind of the fun of this. I am going to play a lot more with this. I'm planning on doing maybe 1 or 2 matches tomorrow and try to keep playing. The thing about these older versions of Football Manager is when you really get into it, it's a lot of fun. And it's a lot of fun to just click around the menus and look different things up about different teams. I mean, it really, the user interface, I know that everybody talks about it all the time, and it's kind of become like a meme these days and all that stuff, because of how bad it was with FM26. But in these earlier games, the further back you go, the better the interface really is. Brouwer was wide open and had acres and acres of space. It was actually a good save by Vanek, so he's kind of made up for that mistake that he made earlier. And like I said, he's a great out player. If I had known that that was going to happen to this team, I probably would have done something different, and that's going to be an own goal, isn't it? Now, Junglas ends up scoring there, his first goal for SV Schwabeg, and we are in heaps and heaps of trouble. And, yeah, it was deflected by our guy, but it wasn't really an own goal. He just sort of knocked it in off of the guy's heel. And so we're down 2-0 here to a team that we were favored to beat. And I'm not sure how much longer this is going to go. We'll see what happens here. Freak's going to get the third, and there it is. Well, maybe this tactic isn't quite all that it was cracked up to be. By the way, I was looking at the attendance a second ago. There are 16 people in attendance, and they're all supporters of the away side. So, yeah, this has been a very, very interesting project so far. Coming and realizing... So the game set me up with a whole bunch of players who were under 17 years old, only to inform me that I cannot actually register them. It's kind of on me for not looking that up beforehand. That would have been very interesting information to know, I think, a little bit earlier. Now, I was talking about doing this as sort of like a youth development save, but I'm not sure that that's going to be possible. I may need to go after this match and make a bunch of transfers as sort of an emergency to see if we can't salvage something from this season in hopes of not having this save just like totally crash out on us. This was a pretty bad match overall, although when I look at these full-time rating statistics, it really wasn't that horrible. I think that our assistant manager was a little bit harsh on the guys here. I do think that Polychronos Vergos probably had a really bad match there near the end, trying to play defender, but the rest of this doesn't necessarily look all that bad. So anyway, we'll take that, a 3-0 loss. Fortunately, I don't have to face the press because I said that our assistant manager is going to take care of all of that for us, and I'll go ahead And I'll save this. In fact, in a second when this reloads again, I will show you that I'll save this so that you know I'm not going to go around save scumming. I'm much more interested in trying to get a storyline actually sort of created in this game. Hopefully, it will move us to the next screen here in a second. And there we have it. And we have a man banned for a match. We really need to sort of have a rethink about this. And that's going to be my plan. So you can see me saving this here right now. That's going to be sort of the plan tomorrow before I film the next match. We're going to go through and we're going to try to change up as much as we possibly can and try to get a couple of different players in this team. And we may bend our own rules a little bit. Like I said, I mean, I had no idea at the beginning that we couldn't play players who were under 17 here in this competition. So we'll see how this goes. But fortunately, no crash this time. I do suspect that it may have been because of the skin all along. So we'll keep an eye on that. I'm going to film as many of these as I possibly can. And as long as it's like it was today, I think we're going to be okay. We can keep playing and we'll be fine. So I hope that you enjoyed that. I definitely enjoyed putting this together. And I will talk with you again tomorrow. We'll have at least one more of these matches. We'll see how early I wake up tomorrow morning. I'll talk with you then. Have a good day. Bye.